Guess I just can't get enough of hot takes. Today we're back with another NBA hot take video. We're here with Free Cone, and he takes a look at some of his community's NBA hot takes, and I'm going to be reacting along with him. So let's hop into it. Tatum's not top 5 in the MVP race. This was like 2 weeks ago. So obviously we have Jokic, Luka, Giannis, if you want to say John Morant, and Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum is playing amazing this season. I don't see how you don't think he's top 5 in the MVP race. I want to know, like, that's why I don't just like people's hot takes. I want to see his top 5 because anybody can just throw anything out there, but I want to see what your top 5 is.
Right now, this is one that I already am not a big fan of. Jayson Tatum, in my opinion, is either the leader, the second place, maybe even the third place guy if you really want to push him back in the MVP race.
Yeah,
he's been
I would say Kevin Durant's up there too, but he got injured, so
back from their original dominance, but they still are the first seed in the Eastern Conference. And Tatum is,
and they're on like a 9-game win streak right now.
30 points per game.
Like after they lost to the Bulls, they went back on another win streak.
He's a big reason why that offense has been such a juggernaut over the course of the entire year. And overall, his perimeter defense too has been phenomenal. He's been one of the best perimeter defenders in the league so far this season. He really just orchestrates everything for them. Sure, he's got a good bit of help with Jaylen Brown and a great supporting cast, but he is undoubtedly the best player on that roster. He's their leader and easily the biggest reason why they're the first seed right now in a very tough Eastern Conference. And if they do finish right there in that spot, I think Tatum might even be the front runner all the way through. Right now, you could argue like
that's tough. Yeah,
that's really the
and I feel like Luka too
at this moment. However, saying he's not top 5 is a bit too far.
Yeah, this is top 5 is a stretch, but top 1 and 2 is a stretch as well.
If he was a starter on his own team, he would be considered a top 5 shooting guard.
Do I agree with that? Yeah, because honestly, who are the shooting guards we're comparing him to? I don't think he'll be better than Donovan Mitchell still. I think Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker are still 1-2. Then we have Jaylen Brown at the 3. But then after that is kind of like a big fall off. I would say James Harden, but James Harden isn't really playing like he usually plays. So I mean, after those 3, it's a big drop off. I can't really think of any other shooting guard that's like dominating the league, I would say, besides those couple of players.
Once again, a take that I do not really like. Jordan Poole has been great as of recently. He started pretty slow, but now he's...
But who would be over him, though?
That we saw him in last season that secured him the bag over the course of this past offseason. He's been great stepping up in the absence...
I'm trying to think of other shooting guards. I can't really think of other shooting guards.
Primary offensive option on most nights, had some 30-point games, 40-point games, and yeah, he is the reason why the Warriors have not completely fallen off a cliff without their franchise point guard. However, to say that he...
I'm gonna try to go team by team. Hold up. Because Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown, I already talked about him. Milwaukee Bucks, Chris Middleton, no. Philadelphia 76ers would be James Harden, no. Brooklyn Nets would be like Seth Curry or something, no. Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell. Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, okay. Jimmy Butler's 4. New York Knicks, no. Atlanta Hawks, DeJounte Murray, no. Indiana Pacers, no. Chicago Bulls, Zach LaVine. Maybe. Toronto Raptors, no. Washington, Orlando, Charlotte, Detroit, no. Denver, no. Memphis, probably. Like, I'm not seeing... It's arguable. You can argue it. Like, looking at all of these teams and looking at who their starting shooting guard is, you can definitely argue Jordan Poole being better than Zach LaVine if he was on his own team. Like, because Zach LaVine is just really a scorer. Like, he lacks a little bit on although his defense has been improving, Zach LaVine is known as a scorer. I feel like Jordan Poole can score just as good, if not better, than Zach LaVine. So you can argue Zach LaVine. You can argue these other starting shooting guards on different rosters. So I don't feel like that's a big stretch, but you know, you can argue it. I feel like you can argue him inside or outside of the top 5. If he was on his own team, obviously.
Too far, in my opinion. Even the way he's been playing right now, he's not a top 5 shooting guard, and he's been given a ton of opportunities in the absence of some of their other options. Andrew Wiggins has also missed some time. Let's just think about the shooting guards in the league right now.
Oh, okay.
Gilgeous-Alexander, Jaylen Brown, who we just talked about a second
ago. Shea, yeah.
Levine, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Desmond Bain, Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Simons,
Desmond Bain,
Dejounte Murray. That's 9 off the top of my
head. Whoa. He started to stretch it a little bit after that 5.
Andrew Wiggins has also missed some time.
Okay, let's look at these names.
Shooting guards in the league right now.
League's 5.
Gilgeous-Alexander,
Okay.
Jaylen Brown, who we just talked about a second ago.
But then Shea is in that position where it's his team. When Jordan Poole, like, I don't know, because hot takes sometimes are hypothetical, and playing off of a hypothetical could be very difficult. But Shea is in a situation where his team is bad and he's that leading force on that team. Jordan Poole isn't the leading force on the Golden State Warriors. I feel like if he was the leading force on a different team, like if he was given more responsibility, like if he had to become a facilitator, if they had him bringing the ball up the court every single possession, I feel like he could be in that realm. So Shea is kind of iffy. So Shea, Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker. Okay.
Zach LaVine,
That's the 5.
Mitchell, Devin Booker, Desmond Bane.
Desmond Bane. I actually accidentally said Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is a forward. Desmond Bane, I can see. Tyrese Maxey is iffy. Tyrese Maxey is iffy. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about if he was on a team where he led the team. Tyrese Maxey would be iffy. Anthony Simons, iffy.
DeJounte Murray,
DeJounte Murray, no. No. And I love DeJounte Murray, but no.
That's 10 right away that I would take over Jordan Poole right now.
Oh, right now. Okay, right now. But we're not talking about right now. They're talking about if he was on a team where he was the leading force. That is not right now. So I'm not understanding where he's coming from.
But I would take at least probably 8 or 9 shooting guards over Jordan Poole at this point. Maybe you could argue top 10, but top 5 is way too far in my opinion.
But they're not saying top 5 now, sir.
Says Shea, first team All NBA. I love this take because I'm a big Gilgeous-Alexander fan, probably the biggest Thunder fan in the world, in my very humble opinion.
Yeah, that's just
However,
a no.
I don't think that this is correct at the moment.
Donovan Mitchell.
Shea has been phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. He's become a
Luka.
superstar. And I told people for years that he was going to eventually be a franchise MVP caliber player when it was all said.
I think he's going to be one of those players that keep getting snubbed because the guard position is so stacked. But he's going to be a second, third team type of player.
However, he's doing it still very young, earlier than 25, which is incredible. It means that he's got so many years of high level, maybe even MVP caliber play ahead of him, especially as the supporting cast improves. And I do think he will rack up a couple of first team All NBA selections as his career progresses. However, this year, I think it might just be a bit too early. Right now, maybe Steph Curry misses a lot of the year based on his current injury, but I think Steph Curry and Luka Doncic are both ahead of him at the moment. Maybe if the Thunder all of a sudden have a massive surge and get up into the playoff picture, that could help Shea's case out a little bit if the Golden State Warriors continue to sink the way that they have for most of the year. But I think that those two guards right now are a bit more deserving of that first team All NBA spot. I do think Shea should absolutely be on one of the teams, probably second team.
Yeah, he's gonna make the all NBA team this year. But first is a stretch, yeah. First is definitely a stretch.
Zero Chris, who says that the Timberwolves will not only miss the playoffs, but that they will trade Cat in the near future. This one I'm buying a bit more.
I like that. And I feel like they should trade Cat. I feel like they should have traded Cat this offseason instead of acquiring Rudy Gobert. Like, you have to play through Anthony Edwards. I feel like Karl-Anthony Towns, he's just not, he's not a franchise player. He's not a player that's going to lead you to a championship. I just feel like you have to go away from him. And to go away from him and get a guy that can play next to Anthony Edwards, I feel like that's going to be the best thing that the Minnesota Timberwolves could do. And I feel like they should do it. I feel like they should have already done it. But now they have Rudy Gobert on the team. I don't know if there's any trade room for Rudy Gobert, because you're not going to trade Karl-Anthony Towns and not trade Rudy Gobert. You have to trade both of them. You have to clear it out, trade D'Angelo Russell as well too. And you have to get a new team to build around Anthony Edwards. Do I think they're going to do that? No, I don't think they're going to do that, because Karl-Anthony Towns, they invested so much into him. So I feel like they're just going to stick with him until either he's let go in free agency or they're just going to keep him on the roster. But I do feel like they should move on from Karl-Anthony Towns
more into than some of the past ones, mainly because the Rudy Gobert trade has absolutely blown up in Minnesota's face.
Yeah.
It's a big move, a huge risky one at that, because putting Rudy Gobert, a traditional center, next to Cat, who's long time been the center and isn't really a four defensively, especially next to each other, it didn't make a ton of sense. But the Timberwolves seemed really determined to do so. There were rumors all offseason that they wanted a true center to put next to Cat and move him to the 4. They got what they wanted.
Everybody trying to make a stretch 4. Everybody cannot be a stretch 4.
Has missed some time, which does hurt them a bit. But even when the team has been fully healthy, it hasn't looked like a nice fit. Rudy Gobert clogs up the paint for Anthony Edwards.
Oh my goodness. A Rudy Gobert 3 is disgusting.
Signs of regression. So all in all, they're gonna have
Ew.
to make some drastic move in the
Ew. A Rudy Gobert 3 is disgusting.
Front offices don't really like to typically say that they made mistakes.
Yep.
For example, Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers shouldn't have traded for Russell Westbrook. They should have brought in some solid role players instead, and now they're being really stubborn to make another trade because they refuse to admit that it was a mistake. I think we could see something very similar with the Minnesota Timberwolves, where they're saying, you know, trading for Gobert, it didn't work because him and Cat don't work. So we're going to trade Cat and build around Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. Trading Cat.
I don't think you can't build around Rudy Gobert when you have a player like Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards gets inside of the paint. He dribble, makes the defense collapse, and the best thing you can do, you don't even have to have a three-point shooting center. If you can pick up a center or a smaller, or a bigger power forward that can stretch the floor probably to 15, 20 feet, then you're fine. You don't need a knockdown 3-point center. You don't need a knockdown 3-point power forward. You just need a bit more space to make them have to stick onto that defender while Anthony Edwards is driving to the paint. And you're not going to get that with Rudy Gobert. That's why I said you either trade both of them or you trade neither of them, because it's not going to work.
Maybe D'Angelo Russell gets moved for a better point guard too, and they try and reshape this roster.
Hey, he like me for real.
That is something that I could.
He like, oh well, not really, because Rudy Gobert is crazy. Even Rudy Gobert on this team is nuts.
But I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. This next take comes from Tavion, who says that LeBron James is no longer a top 10 player in the NBA. And this one's kind of tough. At the beginning of the year, it felt like we were finally
I mean, now
the decline of LeBron.
He's been hooping. He has been hooping. But once again, I would like to say it's not that hard to get 25 plus points when you're the only player on the team. Because who else is going to score? Like their box, I'm gonna pull it up. The box score from last night. The Los Angeles Lakers competed against the Sacramento Kings. This is the Lakers starting lineup: Troy Brown Jr., LeBron James, Thomas Bryant, Patrick Beverly, and Dennis Schroeder. Who on that team scoring besides LeBron? LeBron took 25 shots. He wasn't even efficient. He shot 11 for 25 and still had 32 points, because of course he is. If you're putting up 25 shots to get 32 points, I mean, I guess you're scoring, but I feel like to be top 10, you also have to be efficient. And that's what LeBron is lacking. He's lacking efficiency. You can put up all the crazy stats as you want, because what he had 32, 8, and 9. He had the ball 30 out of the 36 minutes he was on the court. He held the ball for 30 out of the 36 minutes he was on the court. Look at his usage rate. I mean, at that point, he should be averaging that. But he's not efficient while averaging it. You have 10 other people in the NBA who are efficient and who are putting up stats similar or just a little bit under what he puts up. And they're on a winning team. So, do I feel like he's top 10 now? No, I don't. Is he kind of hooping? Yes, he is, but he's still not top 10.
Didn't feel quite there, but eventually he managed to turn things around, and now he's putting up monster performance after monster performance in the absence of Anthony Davis. However, it's not leading to many wins. Not that that's LeBron's fault, because the supporting cast...
Yeah, it's not his fault at all. I should have made that clear. It's not LeBron's fault they're losing.
I don't think he's top 5 anymore, because I have kind of a set top 5 in my mind that I think are just better than him at this moment. And then there's some other guys that I would have maybe at like 6 and 7. To me, he's probably between like 8 and 10. I think that's the range that I would have LeBron in at the moment. It's just hard to say as well, because LeBron James, typically we see the best basketball from him in the playoffs. He gets to the playoffs and he was great all regular season. When he gets in those high leverage games is really when he flips the switch and we're like, oh, this guy's a top 5 player. However, we haven't seen him in the playoffs last year, and in this year, I don't think we're going to see him in there again. The Lakers aren't very good, and it seems like they're hesitant to make any moves. So without seeing LeBron James in those playoff moments, he continues to feel like he's sliding down the board as younger and younger guys continue to pass him and rise up into their own forms of superstars.
I zoned out for a second.
James is still one of the pre-uses that Luka Doncic has
zoned out for a second. I don't know if y'all saw that, but I zoned out. Luka has the potential to be in the GOAT debate. Of course he does. Give this man, bro. People don't understand how good Luka has been playing in these last 4 seasons, because it hasn't amounted to titles, either titles, MVPs, or at least finals appearances. But look at his competition that he's had to face. His first 2 playoff runs, he had to go against the Los Angeles Clippers. That's Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, if you didn't know. 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA while he's on a lackluster team. And then the one year that he doesn't have to face Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, he makes it to the conference finals where unfortunately he has to face Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and Jordan Poole, and Andrew Wiggins. So it's like, I mean, I feel like he has the potential. I feel like he just needs a couple of MVPs under his belt. He needs to be better at defense. You can't be the GOAT without being a great defender. He needs to get better at his defense. A couple more accolades. Well, not a couple more accolades, but a lot more accolades, a long-lasting career. If he can play like 15 to 20 seasons, I feel like he's going to be easily top 5. But number 1, the actual GOAT, he needs to improve on his defense. That's what I think.
Potential to be in the GOAT debate when it's all said and done. And this one feels very, very early to really give a true opinion on, but I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Just from a pure number standpoint, the points that he's putting up, the assists, the rebounds, he might be the league leader in triple doubles all time when it's all said and done, passing Russell Westbrook with the rate that he's currently at. He's carrying a somewhat subpar roster to a pretty solid playoff spot at the moment. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year, and all this to say, he's just 23 years old. There are a lot of people that are saying, oh, he's never had a true team success, although once again, I definitely consider a conference finals.
Yeah, conference finals is team success. What the heck?
Don't win titles until they're like 26, 27, which was the case with LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Those guys didn't win titles until their late 20s when they really got into their true primes. And that's the craziest part.
That's crazy.
Putting up like a 60-20-10 game, the first of its kind, and he's not even in his prime yet. Once he gets to his prime, hopefully the match
me and him same age. And he putting up 60, 20, and 10. Come on, Luka. Come on, Luka. Calm down.
And overall, I think when it's all said and done, Luka Doncic absolutely has a chance to be in that GOAT debate conversation, but it's all going to depend on the roster around him and his longevity. Next take comes from Eon, who says that it's time for the Suns to trade Chris Paul.
All right, I'm gonna just say my take. I did a video about them. They should trade Chris Paul. But for what? For what? Who's gonna take on a $40+ million contract for a 39-year-old? Who's gonna do that? Not a championship contending team, and damn sure not a rebuilding team. No one's gonna take that contract for Chris Paul. He's stuck with the Phoenix Suns. That's it. But I'm gonna end it up there. I hope you all did enjoy. If you did, feel free to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Peace out.